Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good. We have spent 2 days in this non-residential retreat. So we have come to the last day. Today is the last talk, 4th October 2021. Now in this session we are going to do support to the practice that we are continuing. And in that, what we basically do is select a word of the Buddha and then try to understand it to the best of our ability. So for that purpose, I have selected a discourse of the Buddha, the name of which you already know, Vajjiputta Discourse. In Vajjiputta Discourse, if I go back to the last 2 days, he came and said, the Lord Buddha, that he is unable to practice more than 150 precepts, and therefore he went into a bargain with Buddha. And then the Blessed One said, okay, no problem, I'll give you 3. And the 3 he gave was heightening the training in virtue and heightening the training in mind and heightening the training in the discernment. So we discussed the first 2, where you adhere to the virtues, especially while practicing, how the virtues are being protected, how you become a virtuous person, and how it helps to improve your practice. And on the second day, we discuss, you get the confirmation of that you are a virtuous person, and how that confirmation comes is by way of nagging, by way of agitation, by way of annoyance of the images or the shadows of the sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and the skeptical doubts. We, according to the Buddha, realized that these are not things that we should worry. This is simply a sign of progress in the path. These hindrances are known only to you. Unlike transgressional defilement, which are protected by virtue, hindrances may not be visible or known to the rest of the world. Only you will know. So therefore, it's a big tension. It's a big pressure on the practitioner. Although it's a pressure, now the practitioner is having the ability to go through them because they have the tool that is necessary, which is the object of paying the attention to, which is either walking or concentration on your sitting posture. So we have discussed in detail how you can keep them at bay initially, and then you let them come and you become sharp enough, clever enough, unwavering enough, and strong enough to see these hindrances are coming, and you just become mindful of them, and your attitude towards them change, and as a result they gradually fade away. So it is something only experienced by practitioners. Hindrances are not questions for those who don't practice, because they are simply indulging in sensual pleasure and ill will, and therefore the question of hindrances, or the fact that hindrances are there, are not in their books. But for the practitioner, it is, because he is coming from sensual pleasures, coming from ill will, and he is not enjoying those things, or he is not getting involved in these things. So the shadows are coming, shadows are haunting, and try to make you go and get involved in those activities of ill will or the sensual pleasure. So we have discussed them in detail. So with this basis, if I go to the other training that the Blessed One has requested the Vajjiputta monk, which is the heightening the training in discernment. Heightening the training in discernment simply means you get used to the realities of life with a smile. I will repeat that. You get used to the realities of life with a smile. In other words, you make the right judgment when whatever that affects you surface. So that is being strengthened for strengthening the same practice that you are doing. So I'm going to take few more facets of our practice based on the four foundations of mindfulness, because mindfulness is our key tool. So those who practice mindfulness, their Bible is four foundations of mindfulness. So even the last two talks I have based the facts in four foundations of mindfulness. But now I'm going to go a bit more how the discernment can be helped by four foundations of mindfulness. So in there, the main requirement for the practitioner, as I probably may have already mentioned in the previous talk, you will have to keep the mindfulness in front. You will have to keep the mindfulness to the fore. You'll have to keep the mindfulness in the driving seat. When you keep the mindfulness in the driving seat, it takes the lead, and whatever the change in the object, the mindfulness will not change. Mindfulness will not cry. It will keep on maintaining the awareness of whatever is going on. Awareness of here now I am is mindfulness. So when you have this continuing mindfulness, we don't just call it mindfulness. We call it clear comprehension led by mindfulness. So in this discernment, the clear comprehension led by mindfulness is the key. So we will see how it works. If you remember in the last talk, I mentioned when you pay your attention to your body, maybe either walking or maybe while sitting, you may observe certain features, certain qualities of the basic elements, such as heat and cold, or cohesiveness and flowing, or heaviness and lightness, or holding and blowing away. Those are certain basic qualities of the elements of the nature. So when you have these qualities, and when your mind is more and more into the body, these qualities take different shapes depending on your attitude. For some, it may be piercing, it may be burning, it may be hurting, it may be cutting, it may be throwing. For some others, it may be so smooth, so light and tingling and pins and needles, so it will be so soothing. So, in other words, when you pay attention to your body, depending on your attitude towards the body, you may open up the gateway to the mind, which we call feelings, right? So there are three types of feelings. They are painful feeling on one side, and on the other side, pleasant feeling. And in between, there is a situation where there is neither painful nor pleasant feeling, right? So which we usually don't know is existing, right? So when you master these things, or when you see these things, when you get to these stages, it is clearly showing that it may come as a complaint, of course, initially when the practitioner is practicing. You will complain about the pain, especially if it is painful. Or if it is neither painful nor pleasant, you will complain. Neither painful nor pleasant means you feel lethargic, you feel sleepy, you feel bored. So which means you don't have anything to indulge in or fight with. So these two you will complain, but if it is pleasant, you will quietly, without telling anybody, keep on consuming that pleasant feeling. However, when these things are surfacing, what it simply says is that your mind is getting sharper, right? So when you have this sharper mind and when you become mindful even of those stages, right, it opens up your mind more, right? And you get into the things that are available in the mind. So in the mind, what you usually have is again the same thing: your sense desire, your aversion, and your sleepiness and things like that. So if you can get out of those things pretty quickly because of your mindfulness is in front, mindfulness is to the fore, you already know, you have handled those things at gross levels. So when they are appearing once again, you have the ability just to ignore them and keep your attention to the body, or keep your attention to whatever the pleasant or manageable feelings that you have. So when that is happening, it is giving you, your mind is slowly bringing up more improved versions of your practice, right? Say, for example, it will bring up more and more concentration. It will bring up more and more rapture in the body. It will bring up more and more peaceful mind, right? With those things, you will feel that you are more equanimous than in the past. And with all these things, you will see fairly improved concentration, right? So these are the facets that we have in the mind, which we did not see earlier because we are so busy with sensual world. Now, since you have come out of the sensual world, now even the shadows of the sensual world are not disturbing you. So you are more with the body. So you can see being away from the sensual world, which is so tiresome, which consumes lots of energy, you feel more and more happy with it, right? So you get addicted to this practice of mindfulness, and you keep on enjoying that for some time. And then the next thing that will happen to you is all these things vanish, maybe after few days or few weeks or few months or few years. The practice that you have been loving so much will take a complete U-turn, and you will see all these improved rapture, improved concentration, improved equanimity, improved peace of mind, all gone, and you feel that you're once again in the same mess that you were earlier, right? Why this happens is it is an advancement, which you may not agree with me now when I say every time advancement and advancement. It is simply trying to test our strength, mind strength once again, right? In mindfulness, what it does is to try to test our non-reactional ability, right? So mindfulness itself has given this wonderful state of the mind, and it collapses. It collapses without our knowledge. Say, for example, you were able to take your attention so well into the body in the sitting posture, and you feel so elated, and you feel so happy, and you keep on enjoying that. But after some time, you may come and say, all this is good. Now mind is bringing out lot of images that I had never thought I had. They are the images, and they are the things that happened to me when I was so small, very little, and they are bothering me so much. You may come and say, or you may come and say, my mind is like devil's workshop, and a lot of future planning is coming on, or something you will come and complain about, right? So what it does is it is trying to see whether you can still maintain that strong sense of non-reactional mentality, right? So in other words, in the ocean there are waves, right? So there are surfers who ride these waves. So even in our mind, there are mind waves. There are highs and lows, right? So when those highs and lows, when the high is there, we get so elated and it go to one pole, and when low comes, you come to the rock bottom and start weeping, right? So they call it bipolar or whatever polar, I don't know. But this is the normal nature of our mind, right? So mindful person will know that there are extremes. In both the extremes, we can be aware. These extremes cannot exist without a mind. Because you have a mind, you see the extremes of mind, especially you see the extremes of the mind, because you are more open to it. You are more with yourself, right? So when that happens, what we should, being practitioners, do is just be aware of it. You ride that wave. When you are high, you know that you are high. Don't enjoy it. You just be aware. Just accept and be aware that I am elated, and that I am enjoying this mental peace. And gradually you will see it is subsiding, and it is taking the other turn and going to the other side. When that happens also, you accept it. So when this mind wave is coming up, huge mind wave is coming up, you have the mind surfing, and you can surf the mind and learn the art of surfing the mind little by little, gradually. So when that happens, although the mind is having these waves sometimes, and you become a master of the mind rather than mind become your master. So this is the ability of the Blessed One that gives us the strength, that gives us the power that the Blessed One has. So he's not a divine being living somewhere up in the sky and giving us a hand. He's giving us a tool that we have within us to take it out and make use of it, right? So when you do these things, you become more strong, in the sense you become more equipoised. Mind will bring all its tricks, all its trumps, all its strength, but you become a person no matter what the mind brings up, you become the person. Just keep observing. The things mind bring up may be nothing but unbearable pain or huge amount of happiness, or it will bring up so much of peace and um, equanimity in the mind, or it will bring up misery, unbearable misery into the mind, or it may bring up fantastic thoughts that you can implement in your day-to-day life and in professional work, or it may show that you are ruining your life as well. No matter what suggestion it brings you with, you can just be aware of it, because all these are just mere thoughts, just mere mental images. They are not the reality, but the mind is trying its level best to show that that is the reality. But the Blessed One says, hang on, take a step back and see them as not the reality, but the images that are popping up in the mind. So, this is how you improve your discernment so far as the mind is concerned. And when you master your mind like that, whatever the high level that the mind takes you, and then it will put you down. Once again, it will take to another higher level and put you down. Once again, it will take to another higher level, put you down. There are names given to those stages. I'm not going to give those names. We can discuss those names later if you continue this practice with us in the future, because most of you know that we have youth program, English program, fortnightly in the temple. So you all can join that. And then there we speak these things in much more detail in technical language. But anyway, for our purpose, you can go further, and then when you are not challenged by the mind, you see that the mind is having finally only hindrances, because the hindrances is the thing that does not let you reach your discernment, reach your wisdom, reach your ultimate happiness. So you will see the hindrances. But now, when you see these hindrances, although they come in much stronger manner, you are stronger as well at the same time, because you have ridden the mental wave. You are able to see their beginning, you are able to see their progress and the middle, and you are able to see that they end as well. So you, like a third person, observe the movie that the mind is showing, nothing but hindrances. And when you keep on doing that, you also see in certain instances, these hindrances appear as your physical process. Maybe some sense pleasure or ill will manifest in your body, right? Especially, for example, lust. If lust arises within you, it may manifest in your body, right? So even if it manifests in your body, especially while practicing, you may be practicing so well. All of a sudden, some lust comes up and it manifests in your body. So when the lust comes up, you keep on observing. And then when it manifests in the body, still you keep on observing. Now it is not lust. It is manifestation of the body. You accept that it is body. And you keep on accepting it. And then see its beginning, see its middle, see its progress, and see how it subsides. Similarly, the hindrances of ill will or aversion, you see it arises. Say maybe you are walking. While walking, instead of your attention going to that, this huge aversion that pops up, and you see that it is coming, as a hindrance, as a mental way. And while observing that, you also at the same time observe that it is affecting your body. You have huge amount of burning sensation, throbbing sensation. So you start observing that as well. This is how thought comes, and this is how it affects my physical process. Keep observing until it aggravates, and then keep on observing when it is subsiding, and then keep on observing even after it is gone away. So you see, you try to understand, or you get the opportunity now. You have a sharper mind now to understand this link between physical process and mental process as well, since you see the whole episode from the beginning to its end. And not only that, you also sometimes see that you get involved in it. This is different now. You see that maybe you say, for example, while walking, you see a beautiful rose flower in the garden, and your mind goes to that. You see, your mind goes to that, and you see happiness in the mind, and then you also see very elated in the body, rapturous body, and then without your knowledge, your walking goes towards the rose plant, and then you realize your hand is gradually going to touch that flower, right? So now you start seeing how your faculties get activated when hindrances appear, when physical and mental process work. So you see, your hand is stretching to the flower, and you observe, you are just touching the flower, and this is not happening not without mindfulness. It is happening under the surveillance of mindfulness, but still you do it, right? And then you quietly come away from that, and the thought of the flower has gone. So now it is much deeper, how we actually work in the general day-to-day life also coming into the surface. How we work generally in the day-to-day life is through our faculties, through our eyes, through our ears, through our nose, through our tongue, through our body, and through our mind. So now you are able to see that these faculties also get connected with the rest of the world. When the eye is getting connected with a form, right, which means something that I can see, right? When you are also able to observe, it gets connected with something, and then you start liking it or you start disliking it, and you are building up a story on it, and all that you can now observe. Earlier these things were happening, and you get engrossed with it, and you become part of it, and it becomes either love story or crime story, right? But now it is not like that. It still happens, but you are not a part of it. Instead, you are simply an observer, right? So things are going on, but it is not yours. It is, you don't identify yourself with it. So this is the discernment. Not that you change the world. We can't change the world. We can't simply change the way how our systems work. But only thing what we can do is we can take a step back and let the system to do whatever it wants to do. We can be away from that, and not get completely bogged down in it, and be mm, get caught up in the current, and go down the stream. No, now we are going against the grain. We are swimming upstream now. We are not going with the flow. We are not in the rat race. We are not in the business of satisfying all what our faculties tell. We function with our faculties, which are eye, ears, nose, throat, tongue, etc. Now we are not listening to all of them, right? We listen to them only when it is only to the extent that it is essential for us to live. So, when you develop this type of mentality or this type of behavior, this type of attitude through sharpening your mindfulness and always keeping the mindfulness to the fore, this is more or less not mindfulness. Now this is clear comprehension, strong clear comprehension. Clear comprehension means you see things as they are. You let things happen and you become an observer, right? So you don't try to change anything. So in other words, now your mind is gradually learning, not you have completed, learning to understand impermanence that exist in our physical mental processes and impermanence in the world in which we live in, right? And also we try to understand gradually, accept gradually that we can't change things. Things are happening, and we try to make those things that are happening naturally ours, and as a result we create misery. If we don't identify ourselves with them, then our misery is gone. So you gradually learn the art of knowing that there is no self, right? So in other words, these things happen just because of cause and effect relationship, because there is a flower there near your walking path, and because you have eye, you can see, and because you see, the pleasant feeling naturally arise. When the pleasant feeling naturally arise, you think, I should go and touch it, and then you are activated to go and touch that, and you touch it, right? So these things are happening then and there because of reasons, because of cause and effect relationship, and not because it is done by a god or done by a superhuman some in the sky. These are cause and effect relationship. So if um, either the eye was not there, or if either the flower was not there, that should not have happened. Or more, the flower was there and the eye was also there, and your attention did not go there. Instead, your attention was strictly with the feet. And in that case, although the flower was there, although you had your eyes, it would not have gone there. So it's just the cause and effect relationship, and it's not something that either you do or someone else do, or not both of you do, or not neither of you do. It is simply cause and effect relationship. So when you develop your practice in this manner, mind is not just letting you relax. Mind is very clever now. Mind is now taking a different approach to disturb you. And initially, what it did was it tried to put you in all the trouble using the physical and verbal deeds. Now we have handled that to virtue. And then it used the shadows or the shades of these physical and verbal deeds, which we call hindrances. So in hindrances, you knew that hindrances is there, but nobody else knew. But now you have handled that as well. Now the mind is bringing up another trick, another trump card. And this trump card is very deceiving. It is bringing out a situation, a phenomena um, um, that you in general consider as a very beneficial, very good thing to you as well as to the society. But in fact, it brings you some defilement, something that has an underlying mental corruption, right? So if I give you, if those when those things happen, and Blessed One says, you may be treating them, and you may be accommodating them, and you may be looking after them as your son, although not the son that has come into the house, that's a thief. You think your son has gone far away and he has come back after a long time and he's grown up and cannot be recognized. Suppose he has gone far away country and has been studying for a long time. He went when he was very young. Now he's grown up. He's coming after 15 years, so you can't recognize him. And then you think it is the son and take him inside and treat like the son. But in fact, who has come inside is a thief. Now this is how the society worked during Buddha's time in India. When they are small, they are sent to a respected teacher and they learn for long, long time. They come back once they are grown up and parents can't recognize when they really come. So that simile Blessed One has taken. A thief has come instead of the son, but you treat him like the son. So that is how these new mental corruptions are going to work. If I give some example, say that you want to um, mm, help somebody, right? You want to. There is someone who is really sick, and you think that I should go and visit her and provide my positive energies to her, right? Because you are practicing mindfulness and you are generating a lot of positive energies, and if you go there and talk about this good wonderful dhamma to that person, and he will be so glad and you will be able to relieve it. But this person is of the opposite sex, right? And what in fact works there is, even without knowledge, without your knowledge, that attraction to the opposite sex may be working, right? It will take long time to realize, right? And this has happened really in the practice. It has happened even to monks sometimes. And they keep on teaching some females, and after some time, they run away with the female, right? Initially, when they start, okay, these are good things that should be done, and whether it's male or female, we should not discriminate, and we should do this, we should do that. At the end of the day, what happens is, after some time, it goes beyond Dhamma, beyond mindfulness practice. You get caught up in the sensual desire. So its mind is very clever in doing that. And I'm just giving a simple example. You can think you may have experienced so many things like that, but the worst part is even you don't know. If you know, then it is not a mind corruption. If you know, it is a hindrance. And only when these things are happening, you must disclose. Only your noble friend, your teacher, will be able to gauge them what is going to happen, right? So when it comes to this stage, it is very important to discuss whatever that is happening, and it is especially happening in the practice when you have sometimes when you initially practice and when your mind is getting cleared, you may have some bright lights, or you may feel that you are levitating, like not that you are actually levitating, but you may feel like that, and then you feel you have achieved the highest level of the practice. And when you tell your teacher will say, okay, okay, that's all right, that's a normal thing, you keep on practicing. And you may think, oh, this guy has not had this experience, so this is why he is not taking so interest, and I should go and find another teacher. And you will go and find another teacher, another practice, and you lose your practice, right? So in like that, it may put you in a lot of trouble. So therefore, when those things happen, you must not avoid discussion under whatever circumstances. So this is why we have this discussion to see what's going on in the mind of the practitioner. And another such trump card, deceiving some card, that the mind will have is the aversion, that the love that comes as aversion, right? So sometimes, say for example, a very common thing is this: vegan people or vegetarian, they're doing stupid things. I'm not saying vegetarianism is bad or vegan is bad or good. What I'm saying is how the mind corruption is working. And since they are vegetarian, they go and block roads, or they go to farms and disturb the farm activities, right? So if you are a person who is against killing animals, is good, wonderful. But that does not mean to help animals, you go and disturb the human being. It doesn't make sense. Non-violence, if it is non-violence, oh, you have to be non-violent, right? We to protect whales, and sometimes we go to the rough seas and put other people in danger. So that's not the people's mistake. That is how our mind is working. They are showing that they are non-violent, but unfortunately through violent means, right? So it's a mental corruption. You think that you are doing good thing, and the rest of the world also, even in the media, they're showing that as such a big thing. Everyone is in a mess. It is not the real non-violence. Non-violence has to start in the mind. When you are non-violent, it should be non-violent to you and to the rest of the world as well. Otherwise, it is not acceptable to everybody. Buddha is showing a way that is acceptable universally. It's not just to one person or one class of people or one group of people. And another such um, deceptive situation will be wrong views may appear as your wisdom, or as your knowledge. If you take, some people, they have this auspicious time working. They will say, okay, if you go and practice, you will have to go before this time or before that time or on this time, and they have they look for auspicious timing for everything. So that's and if those things happen, those are wrong views, and those wrong views, you think it's the right way, right wisdom that the world is having. And I'm just giving very simple examples. There are lots and lots of examples, and I have met someone who says that there are 4 protective meditation methods. So before you do anything else, you will have to do those 4 protective meditation methods, without which you can't practice anything. But in the discourse for mindfulness, Buddha does not give any damn thing as such. He straight away say, go to a forest, or go to a foot of a tree, or go to an empty hut and keep your body upright and have the body as your focal point and pay attention to the breath, keeping the mindfulness to the fore. No protective meditation practices are required, but you may have. But if you read books, that will spoil you. If you listen to too many teachers who are not practicing mindfulness but a lot of other rubbish, then you will be spoiled. And if you are spoiled, when you talk, some people can be corrected, some people just change the teacher and then lose this wonderful opportunity that a human being has to correct themselves and improve themselves and have a happy life. Right? So, therefore, we have got to be very careful of this deceiving side of the mind, which we call mental corruptions, or there is another term for it, underlying tendencies, right? So another thing that might appear is even the doubt, skeptical doubt, may appear as your knowledge or virtue or wisdom. Say, for example, doubt means you don't have a real faith in the practice or in the teacher or in the teaching or in the Buddha or the other people who are practicing with you. That's the doubt. And that doubt may come as knowledge. Some people say, I want to first learn Pali. Pali is the language in which the Blessed One has done all his, given all his sermons. All the discourses are in Pali. So they say, I want to first learn Pali so that I can exactly know what the Buddha said. What does it mean? What he simply says is, he is not having faith in the teacher. He is not having faith in what is there. And but it is being shown as such an acceptable thing, because he's first trying to learn the language, and that's the way we work, and then learn the thing and then practice. By that time he may be in his coffin, right? So Buddha has not learned any language. He has not asked us to learn any language, because Pali is not the only language Buddha has spoken. There has been another language Buddha spoke. So we will have to keep on learning that as well. And then we get into mess with our doubt, which is coming out as a huge knowledge, as a beneficial thing for us. So we are going to be very careful, and only way you can come out of them is through the discussion. So you have got to talk to your teacher, and some of you are here, especially those who are practicing and coming into our fortnightly sessions. They discuss, so we can correct them and we can give them opportunity to correct themselves with those things. And another thing is, even the conceit may appear as your wisdom or wisdom or progress. I have met some people. They say that we don't go to parties now because we are meditating. Or some people say, I usually don't accept things unless it is proven. What does it mean? Is you are not going to parties because you practice, means you have some conceit and over assessment of your practice, and you put the other people down. Conceit means you compare yourself with someone else, and you feel you are either superior or inferior or equal, right? And if you have some sort of comparison of that nature with other people, Blessed One says, "You are not my disciple." This should not compare. Of course, when I'm giving talks, I compare with the practitioners with others, but not to say that we are better than them, but just to show the difference, that we can go to better stage, or better states, in the way we live, and lift our standard of living, um, improving our mind rather than improving the food intake, right? Food intake will only improve the physical, sometimes it is not as well, standard of living. But to improve the mental standard of living, we should have, we should practice mindfulness. Okay, so therefore we may have even the conceit coming as wisdom or coming as progress, whereas it is a comparison with somebody else and a mental corruption. And this deception can also come as in the form of broad-mindedness, right? So you may have a lot of concepts about your relatives, and you may feel that this is a wonderful technique and my mother should learn, my sibling should know this, my parents should know it, my partner should know it, and I should give it to my kids. And you will stop your practice and you start trying to teach others, which is a mental corruption. Neither of you will learn, because you will have to first come out of the mud to help someone else, right? So only to the extent you have come out, you will be able to help others, right? So then you may be thinking, how is this guy teaching us whether he has come out of the mud? I will leave that to you to find out. So keep in mind, initially at the early stages of the practice, because this is such a wonderful, attractive practice, and you yourself see the benefit then and there. When you see the benefit then and there, you feel giving it to others, and it's a genuine thought, genuine concept that comes up. But that is not to your benefit, because you will have to waste your time that you have to practice to teach someone else, which you, of course, you don't know in full as well. So it's a mental corruption. Mind is trying to catch you there, even without your knowledge. And another thing is, not just the relatives. You may try to give it to the whole society, whole suburb, whole village, whole state, whole country, whole world, right? So it's again another mental corruption. Or you may think, now my practice is going so well, so I will have to wake up at this time, I will have to take bath before noon, otherwise it is not good. I should take only this type of food, otherwise my health will be bad, so I won't be able to practice. Or you make a lot of things to live long, to do this practice well. So it's again another rubbish, because your attention is now towards living longer to do the practice, rather than doing the practice, right? So therefore, you will have to be careful of those concepts that the mind will be bringing to you. And or you might say, when I should not do anything, that I will be blamed, um, because I'm practicing now. So I'm mindful. I should do everything perfect. So nobody should blame me. I can avoid all the blames that comes my way. So my partner will not blame because I'm doing this thing. My office boss will not blame. My colleagues will not blame. My subordinates will not blame. And you try to avoid blames. So which is again another diversion of the energy from the practice, to something that you don't have control over, right? So, and the other one is, you tend to help other people, doing, you prepare cassettes, or what do you call, audio video devices to spread Dhamma, or you will do um, um, other people's work because it is good and because you are so generous, and you don't practice, right? So these things are things that might appear when your practice is progressing well, and when you become more and more equipoised, mind will be trying to catch you. So those things are not mistakes. This you should know these things, so that when they appear, of course, when these mental corruptions are appearing, you will not be able to know, right? So it is imperative, therefore, the Blessed One says, this path is 100% is with your teacher. The word he uses is not the teacher, the word he uses is the noble friend, not the friend that you go with to the bar, not the friend that you have in your school, right? Not your boyfriend or girlfriend, but your noble friend who is the person teaching mindfulness. So you will have to go and discuss with him anything and everything, so that he will be able to see what is trying to attract you or attack you, right? So accordingly, he will be able to help you gradually, without hurting you, to come out of the mess that the mind is trying to put you into trouble. So when these things are happening without your knowledge, you are quietly developing. Now, when your discernment is heightening up, right, you are quietly developing new faculties. Those faculties are mental faculties, and they are called spiritual faculties. And there are 5 spiritual faculties. We call them faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, right? These things gradually develop when you keep the mindfulness to the fore, because you see for yourself that it is working. So the faith is developing. Since it is working, you are more and more energized, devoted to it, to practice, and you keep the mindfulness to the fore, and as a result your concentration is high, and you start seeing things that you have not seen in the past. You start realizing things that you are not in. So your wisdom is developing. And then this faculty, this new mental organ that you are developing, can be converted into a power. How it converts into a power is, you lose the faith, you lose the energy, you lose the mindfulness, you lose your concentration, you lose your wisdom. When any of these things are lost, if you are not shaken, and if you still maintain your equipoised mind, if you still maintain your equanimity, then that faculty, that mental faculty, becomes a mental power, right? So it is not faith faculty, it becomes faith power. You lost faith in the practice, but still you are not shaken. You don't uh, mm, put any effort as you have been putting in the past, but still you are not shaken. You don't cry about it. And sometimes you are not mindful. You do things very unmindfully, right? You go to the wrong car, you take toothpaste instead of shaving cream, and all sorts of nonsense will happen. But still, you don't care. Who cares? Mentality will be developed. So it is not just the faculty, it's a power. So, and when you keep on doing that, um, without having any huge mm, disturbance, when those faculties are shaken or lost, then you developed a quality that leads to realize the enlightenment. We call them factors of enlightenment. right? So when you develop the factors of enlightenment, you are, without your knowledge, going towards the ultimate wisdom. And in the discernment, the final thing that happens is this is a path to go to the ultimate wisdom. And when you go to the wisdom, you kick the path as well. You don't take it over your shoulder. You don't consider even that as a burden, because that path of mindfulness, is taking you to realize things that you have not realized in your day-to-day life in the past. So you see that it is so important, that it is so precious, that you must preserve it and have it with you all the time. No, that you, even the path, you forget. Then only you will be really relieved. Most of us, what do we have something better, we try to hold on to it. No, Blessed One says, you will have to let even the path go. More you realize, let it go. Right? So it's like when you do pole vaulting, you take the help of the pole until you cross the bar. Once you cross the bar, you throw the pole away and you jump onto the other side. It has to happen at just the right time when you're just over the bar. If you do it before, you will not cross. And after crossing, if you take the bar, you will you will take the pole, the bar will come down. So like that, when you achieve the ultimate wisdom, you will have to even throw the path. Then only, in other words, you don't identify yourself with the path as well. Then only you will be able to go to the final wisdom. So I think I have given a very broad understanding of the entire Buddhist practice. I have tried my level best to make it as simple as possible. So hope these three talks have helped you to understand to some extent the depth in this practice. So this is not the end. So I want you to gain some energy from these talks and request you to kindly continue to practice this every day, whatever time that you can allocate that, and do a continuous walking session, continuous sitting session immediately after. Do it every time, every day, so that it becomes part of your routine. Once it becomes part of your routine, after 1 year, you will realize yourself that you are a different person to the person who started it. Right. So therefore, it's such a beneficial, wonderful path. So hope these three talks will help you to take a U-turn of your current life and turn towards the real enjoyment, real happiness in life. May all of you be happy, well, and peaceful. Blessings of the Noble Triple Gem.